All right, it's 8 a.m. This is the Town Council regular meeting for Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026. If we could lead the pledge, Dennis?
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dennis. All right, we all have an agenda. Item number 2 on the agenda is Morgan Scholarship Awards, recognition of Liam Totten and Abigail Stack for their performance this year at Morgan School. If you give me a minute, I'd like to read some words about each of those students who we are very proud of. Liam is a highly motivated and energetic senior who consistently pushes his academic and athletic boundaries. A high honors student and recognized Morgan Scholar, Liam is known for being deeply engaged in the classroom and always seeking out academic challenges. His drive extends well beyond school walls. He is a year-round soccer player who earned the prestigious title of Goalie of the Year in the Shoreline Conference and has helped lead the team to several successful seasons. Demonstrating strong leadership and an entrepreneurial spirit, Liam balances his busy schedule by working as a camp counselor and running his own landscaping business. Liam has made a positive impact on the Clinton community. Liam will attend UConn in the fall. And then the other scholarship award goes to Abigail Stack. Abigail is a remarkably driven senior who consistently challenges herself both academically and through extensive community involvement. She has balanced a rigorous course load with active leadership in the National Honor Society, STEP, REACT, Interact, and the Spirit Squad. Overcoming a serious medical condition, Abigail has shown great resilience and drive, taking challenging classes and seeking help when needed. Her leadership shines on the athletic field as well, where she served as a 2-year captain of the lacrosse team, helping them to a successful season this year. Outside of school, Abigail is attending flight school and plans to continue that learning next year at the Florida Institute of Technology. So to Liam and to Abigail, the Town Council's congratulations, and we give you the Morgan School Scholarship Award. If both of you please come forward, we have a couple checks, and maybe we'll get a photo opportunity with the council. Council, do you mind? Maybe we'll do it over here under the lights.
Yeah.
Liam, congratulations.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to get under the light?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations on the play soccer.
Maybe not sure.
Come in front. Very good. In front of us. Yeah. That's one of the more pleasant functions of being on the Town Council. All right, moving on to agenda item number 3, visitors. Do we have any visitors that would like to speak? Mr. Wolf? Oh, yeah, you're welcome to leave. You don't have to stay the entire, I mean, that's why we put you first on the agenda. You're welcome to stay, too, if you find this fascinating.
Have a good day, guys.
Good day.
How are you? I'll be quick this morning.
Great, thank you. If you don't mind, your name again, just formality. Your name?
Oh, Seth Wolf, you already said my name, so I'm sorry. I thought it was good. So as some of you probably know, I was here on voting day with a petition. So basically, I was able to be here from 7 to 8 in the morning, and then I was here from 3:30 to 4:30. I was able to get 5 signatures from the morning, which was pretty lower turnout. And then obviously in the afternoon, it picked up. I got 18 signatures total, which if you kind of take that vote of what people were there, I would probably say that's about 10% of the people were willing to sign this petition to get rid of your town manager. Many people said that they would have signed it if they didn't feel that the town might, be vindictive to them, not give them a good tax assessment. So there's a lot more people who are unhappy with how this town is being run. And I spent maybe 5 minutes to do this. And the next time I do it, which I will be doing it, I will get the required signatures to have a vote to have her removed if you guys don't do it. This town is run unacceptably, and it needs to change. So many people said how they don't like what's happening here. And it does need to change. And I'm going to make sure of that. And then these are those signatures that I got. So these people aren't happy. And you need to be aware of it. And just so you guys have a little history lesson, if you remember, we had a first selectman named William Fritz, correct? And he was voted out by 1 vote. I voted for all of you and Miss Allen. I didn't vote for you. I've always voted for Democrats. I went to William Fritz years ago, and he did nothing. And you know what I did? I didn't vote for him, and he lost by that 1 vote. And the next time, when election time comes, because you are all up for re-election, I won't be voting for you. And I'll make sure that you guys are voted out. And you'll keep seeing me here every time you have one of these meetings. And I love your smirk.
Thank you. Thanks for your comments. All right, next item on the agenda, item number 4, approval of minutes for the May 20th, 2026 Town Council meeting. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 5 on the agenda, appointments and reappointments. So I'm going to, there's a bunch of names here that are going to be either appointed or reappointed to positions on various commissions and boards. I'm going to go through all the names, and we'll have one motion for all of them, if that's okay.
These all reappointments?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're all reappointments, yes. Wesley Kavanaugh, Shellfish Commission for term June 30th, 2028. Antonella Vertucci, Economic Development Commission for term until June 30th, 2030. Catherine McCullum, Thomas Vicino, and Phil Sangl, Board of Ethics, till June 30th, 2031. Peter Mazzetti, Cable TV Advisory, for a term until June 30th, 2028. Mary Jo Phelps, Conservation Commission, for a term until June 30th, 2028. Jamie Saturno, Design Review Board, alternate seat, for a term until June 30th, 2029. Nancy Adams, Economic Development Commission, for a term until June 30th, 2030. Ian Coyne and David, Human Service Advisory Board, for a term until June 30th, 2029. Mike Corcoran, Shellfish Commission, for a term until June 30th, 2028. Matt Kennedy, Water Pollution Control Commission, for a term until June 30th, 2029. Dave Adams, Doug Elliott, and Todd Hiffens, Harbor Management Commission, for a term until June 30th, 2030. Paul Tunney, Design Review Board, for a term until June 30th, 2029. Brett Martin and Matthew Granfield for the Sustainability Committee, for a term until June 30th, 2028. Sherry Collins, Bruce Leidy, Mark Palmieri, Angela Paredes, Dave Smith, and Sherry Smith for the Beautification Committee, for a term until June 30th, 2028. Do I hear a motion to reappoint all of those following individuals to those respective commissions and boards?
Second.
All in favor?
Well, can I have just
Oh,
one question?
discussion, sorry.
On Matt Kennedy, didn't I see something in our emails where he was going to resign from the Water Pollution
I didn't
Commission?
see that. Did anybody else?
No.
Someone else resigned from
There was
Water
another
Pollution
gentleman who
Control.
sent
I'm
an
sorry.
email. There was another
There was a different
gentleman.
person who resigned from Water Pollution Control, not
Okay,
Matt.
my mistake. Probably his name was on it. Addressed
He's
it.
the chair, yes.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion. Chris, second.
Jerry.
Discussion any further? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Thank you. Item number 6, Parks and Rec Department update.
So we have a new Parks and Rec director. Bo is officially retired, and so we have Dustin here to meet the council formally, and we have 2 members of the Parks and Rec Commission to give I'm sorry, 3. Sorry, Brian, didn't see you back there. 3 members of the commission here to talk to the council, bring them up to date on what's been happening there. This is a busy time of year for them too, so they can give you an update on the winter activities and what they're looking forward to coming into summer. We're starting the beach season. And then I know that there's a couple of questions that the council has discussed with me, and I think they're a little bit more on aware of the status of these items and can give you a direct, thought process of what the commission has been going through and why the decisions they made. So I welcome you to speak. And Dustin, do you have anything first to start with to the council?
If it's okay with you, I think I could address both the speaker system and introduction.
And yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good morning. I'm Dustin. I'm very excited to be the new Parks and Recreation Director and build on the foundations that the Parks and Rec Commission, Bo and his team have cultivated over the years. One of my first tasks from Michelle in my first 2 weeks here was to become an audio expert. So I think I've done a little bit of positive, investigation in that regard. I talked to Shoreline Audio, who had serviced our system, unbeknownst to me, very recently. I think it was within the last 2 months, and they had told me that there was a microphone that needed to be replaced. They replaced the microphone, and that the amplifier, if I remember correctly, needed to be repaired. So in his words, the system was working perfectly. Of course, I didn't take it at just that. I went and tested the system out for myself to kind of hear it for myself. So I went down there with a public works staffer, Tucker, who's awesome. He showed me the room, he turned on the amplifier, he tested the speaker, I went to the bleachers. I could hear it clearly and audibly in a very controlled, quiet, early morning environment. Of course, that doesn't simulate the actual game environment, especially from what I can hear from my home, the loudness of the crowds from Morgan Athletics. So I was fortunate enough to meet Megan, the athletic director, who had informed me that last week were the Shoreline Championships for lacrosse. So I attended the Shoreline Championships. It worked out well where they were announcing the all-conference team selections at the Shoreline Championship, so I got a chance to hear the pregame music, the announcements of the all-conference selections, and then a little bit of the game as well. So I took video, I listened. The system, I would agree with Shoreline Audio, was working, in my words, what I would say is appropriately for the venue. It's not going to be equivalent, obviously, to a higher tier of athletics in college, but you could hear clearly, the parents could hear it, they were very excited. So I hope that that situation is resolved at Indian River Complex. I don't know if I mentioned that. That was the specific location that I was investigating as much as I could. So I think that this fall, when soccer season rolls around, it's going to work really well. The only other thing that I noticed in both looking at Peters, I checked that out too, and Indian River Complex, is that the amount of access to those rooms is significant. There's a lot of people, players, coaches, administrators, that have access to those 2 rooms. So I could see a possibility where someone could manipulate the controls or the microphone and drop it, or manipulate it in some manner that would make it difficult for the operator to make it loud enough. So I think it's resolved. I can share the video with anybody that might want to see it, or I'm also happy to go down there and pop open the door and test it out with anyone as well.
Chris, do you have anything? Because, I mean, you're one of the biggest advocates for this, so.
Yeah, so, let's see. The first thing is that I think you have a lot of supporters on this council, and I'm one of the biggest supporters. I know how much work all the Park and Rec commissioners do, but I also know how busy everyone is. So in my opinion, I've been to every game. I have kids that are in their 20s. I've been to every game as a fan that they went to. I've been to every game now for the last 4 years for my daughter and son. I can tell you on the fan side, when it gets really loud and crazy, you can't hear. And I can also tell you from a coach's perspective, on the coach's side, the solution has continuously been to fix the amplifier and turn it up. And we are, we've had complaints from our players, and the other team's players that it's too loud. You know, it's really loud on that side, and you can't hear on the other side. You're a sports guy. Everyone here's a sports guy from the commission. Go to any game on the shoreline or around. I'm not talking college level. Go to high school levels. The speakers are always 98% of the time on the fan side for that reason, so that they can hear. So I think we've spent so much time, and I appreciate the time that you've put into that. I think we spend so much time disputing whether you can hear or you can't hear. And I'm telling you personally, I know from experience that you can't hear. So I get complaints constantly from fans and people saying I can't hear. So they recently sent around a petition. I have a copy of it. You know, maybe 45 people sign it saying they can't hear. And one of the people that signed this is Bill Lindsay, who's the head coach of the lacrosse team, who says his team says they can't hear. So I get frustrated on this topic because I think we spend so much time arguing whether you can hear or you can't hear. And, you know, to me, it's like a given fact, and it becomes a bigger issue where people in the town, you just hear people talk, are saying that the commission's incompetent, that the town council's incompetent, that we can't even get a speaker on the side like every other town has on the shoreline, where I feel like it's a given that you can't hear. And you are new. I know the guys on the Park and Rec Commission, you know, they do a million great things. Chris, like, how much have you done for Little League over all the years after your kids leave? Joe, I see him down at the Clinton Invitational Tournament for 12 hours. He's there. If you're not there, you don't know. Like, I in the spring, I have time off. I said, I'm going to go to all these games. I'm going to go to lacrosse games. I'm going to go to baseball games. They have a great time. I've been to about 2 because I'm busy with my own kids. I mean, Ron, you got kids in college. I know it's hard to go to these games and see for yourself. You've tried to do a little bit of research for one game. It's just frustrating to me because I feel like we spend so much time arguing whether you can hear or not. And to me, you can't hear. We should have 2 or 3 audio groups in there, and the time should be spent on how can we get speakers on that side, because I know that is a difficult discussion. I've had discussions with Bo. It's in the minutes, going all the way back to the turf project, that we're going to work. Park and Rec Commission was going to work on putting speakers in there, and it's been a long-term thing. I mean, we should have 2 or 3 people come down there and look at it. So that's all I'm going to say on that. I mean, if the solution keeps being, we'll turn it up louder, we'll get a better microphone, we'll get a better amplifier, that's not the solution. For Peters.
Wait, can I answer some of your questions?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I've been down there. The one time you complained about the speakers when you were on the board, I went down the next game, sat there, listened to Bill Lindsay's daughter do the national anthem. Sat next to a friend of ours and asked him, did you hear everything clearly? He said yes. When did you guys start in soccer announcing scores and all that? Because when I was down there for soccer and lacrosse, they would just announce the players would do the national anthem. So when did we start doing announcing during the game? Unlike football, with Donovan, he talks probably 90% of the time. So when did that start happening? When did we have a student or Mr. Donovan, somebody like that, doing announcing during the games? Are we doing that? Because you're making it sound like during the game, these parents can't hear.
Yeah, the last 2 years, we had a student who aspires to do it in college.
Is that the person that does basketball? The same student?
I don't know.
So you're saying that during the game, you're announcing it like it's on TV?
Yes.
Okay, because that's news to us. That's news to us. You're not you didn't, any of your meetings,
They're doing the play-by-play.
they're doing the play-by-play.
It's not the same as football where there's a play-by-play. It's who's subbing in, who's subbing out.
Okay, so basically 3 times, 4 times soccer subs?
Yeah, whatever.
We're talking 3 or 4 times. Okay, so during the conversation when you were at board, or on our commission, Potter did ask his sound person to get speakers on the bleachers and then keep the speakers on the press box. He told us that if you do that, they're just gonna bounce, the sound's gonna bounce back and forth, okay? And then we asked just to put the speakers on the bleacher side and not the press box side. That sound person says if you do that, it's gonna bounce off the rocks and it's not gonna be fine. It's not gonna be fine.
That, Ron, I'm sympathetic to. I understand that the solution needs to be investigated further.
We did, several times, Chris. And you were part of our commission, listen, you were part of that commission, and you asked us to do that. And then the next 3 meetings, you weren't there, and we talked about it, okay? Yeah, you're right, we've been beating a dead horse on this, okay? I was up there once, and I've also told Michelle and Dustin during the lacrosse thing, my daughter was getting announced for all Shoreline, couldn't hear it, okay? It was user error, they had the microphone down here. Now, you're saying we got multiple people complaining, not one email's gone to Potter, not one person has.
That's not true.
It is true.
It's not. I'm CC'd on them. I have them here. Michelle's been included on
Then why aren't they going to us then?
I don't know. That's a good question, Ron. But it doesn't matter.
If the letters are, if you said there are letters, where are these letters?
Where are the letters,
The
then?
commission has not seen these letters.
We do correspondence
If we had the
every
letters,
meeting.
obviously, we would act upon it at that point. We can't act upon anything if we don't have the information.
There's plenty of letters, and there's 45 signatures here from people can hear.
And the one complaint that you had during our commission, that you told the commission that they're not doing Shoreline soccer up there because of the speakers. Potter investigated that person you so-called said that emailed you, and they said that was totally false accusation. And he also went to the AD and asked if there was any complaints about that, and she was dumbfounded by what you were asking. And not, the ADs never came to us, the ADs never come to us.
That's exactly what I'm complaining about. You're spending so much time.
No, you're spending so much time on this, Chris.
You can't hear. You just admitted you were at this Shoreline thing and you can't hear.
User error, that was 5, 6 years ago.
There's 45 people who go to the games. You don't go to games, Ron. You went to one. You walked up there. Yeah, I can hear it. You can't hear, okay? You can't hear. The time, what you started talking about is what you guys should be spending time on. What is the solution? You had one person come up there.
There is no solution, it works. Look at the video. It works. He was there.
It doesn't work. All right, I don't want to talk about it anymore. It doesn't work. Get some estimates.
All right, so, yeah, we'll cut it off. It's back and
the
forth.
issue about who's right, who's wrong, why don't we bring in the sound company?
Yeah.
And let him
have
come in,
some
sit here, talk to us and tell us, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and that's it. And if it doesn't work, because it would bounce here, bounce there, we're not professionals, we don't understand, that solves the problem. Because then if a professional comes in and says, this is the system, this is how it would work, if we put speakers here, they wouldn't work, they'd bounce here, they'd bounce there, so it wouldn't help improve anything, well, then it's a moot point.
So there was a sound company that you talked to, Dustin?
Yeah, Shoreline Audio. And just to provide some additional context, I met with Megan Sears, the athletic director, who's also at the Shoreline Championships, and she texted me, I think the boys played that night, and said the sound system's working great. So I'd be happy. I don't know when you heard it, Chris. I know it was very recent. Shoreline Audio came out and fixed it. I don't know. It may have been inadequate in the fall. But I'm happy, and we all want the same thing, right?
I've received 2 letters, 2 emails. The first one, when I received it, I sent it right to Bo. He explained to me about the amplifier and the microphone, and it was addressed. And then the second one I received was from Mike Shove. Those are the only ones until I received the petitions. I have been in, this is why we're here today, because you're asking me things, and this is what I get when I go to the commission. So I am in a position where I'm not the expert. They're the ones that are doing the legwork and have spoken to the experts. That is their charge as the commission, to make sure that our facilities meet the needs, and when there is a problem, they seek out the solution. They have found and have a resolved solution by an audio company saying, this is sufficient. But if the council's not comfortable with their being the conduit for that information, then they're going to have to come and say the same information. But
No, so what the recommendation that Chris Aniskovich just gave, which is we'll have that sound.
Get a couple, just like you were doing something at your house.
Okay, let me ask you this. If it costs money for them to come, are you forking up the money for this cost? Because these
It
people.
costs money to come do
I think
an
we're
estimate.
done, we're done with this topic. We're done with this topic. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it's an argument every time, so, and I don't even know about Peters, but that's,
So-
that's a whole different.
So that what our resolution is that the council will hear from the experts that, Dustin, if you will come back and bring that person and explain, that person will explain, we'll hear right from the horse's mouth. And have them go to a game that Chris is talking about and sit in the other side and experience what Chris is saying, so that,
That won't be until the fall, because all the games are done.
Yeah.
So this will be an issue in the fall.
But I'm happy to open it up. And you said the lacrosse coach, I'd love to talk to him. I don't, like I said, I don't know when this was resolved. I think it was resolved this spring at some point.
so have you experienced it since this was resolved, in their opinion?
No.
Okay. So this may be, I understand you think that it can be improved. A lot of things can be improved. But if the system we have in place was faulty and it has been addressed, it may meet your expectations for what it is. Are you comfortable with waiting to see, or do you want?
My only hesitation is that the solution has constantly been to improve the speakers on the coaches and players' side, rather than get the speakers over to the fans who have the trouble hearing. The coaches and players and AD, they can all hear perfectly fine. It's the other side. So that's my only hesitation with that, because we keep fixing the amp and making it louder.
So I think what we need to do is get the company that did the assessment, make a couple of calls to other ones. I know there's not a plethora of them, but see if we can get some other and see if they charge to come out for a quote. It may not need to be actually hearing it. It may be just the physics of it, where they know that if you place a speaker in front of another speaker, like was described, that there is some
You'll get
feedback and
reverb.
bounce back. It may be as simple as laying it out. So why don't Dustin and I and the commission work on that, and we'll give you an update and get the commission, get the council either one individual who's done it, if that's all we can come up with, or if not, if we can get multiple assessments and they all are on the same page saying this is the best we can do, then,
we'll get the assessments and we'll go from there.
yeah.
All right, thanks.
Was there anything else that?
Yeah, Board of Parking,
Regarding Parks and Rec while they're here?
right.
Yes,
I
Dennis.
just have one quick question.
Yeah.
There's rumors going around that the football season is going to be completely at Saybrook this year.
We heard that rumor too. And Dustin's gonna talk to the AD this week. Due to the.
Well, I see Mary Ann also nodding. Mary Ann, you're the superintendent. I'd like to bring you in the conversation.
I'm aware of that conversation. Megan Sears, our athletic director, did inform me in the winter that due to the issues on the field, whatever sinking and the repairs that need to happen, that it's likely the field will not be allowed to be played on in the fall. I haven't received an update recently, but I know Todd is beginning that work at DPW. The question is, the work will probably be done, but do you have to let the field sit? Right? That's, I think, where the question mark is, from my knowledge. But I haven't spoken to Todd or Megan directly recently, but I do think that that is a distinct possibility,
Yes.
Dennis.
And Dennis, we talked about that at our Park and Rec meeting last night.
Okay.
And they graded and put the soil down this week. They're gonna put the sprinklers on so it settles, they're gonna seed it. We're not sodding it, we're seeding it. So we need a season to get that to grow. And the growing season is really not in the summer. I mean, even though we have sprinklers, not summer. So the fall time. So we did, when we talked about this project, because I was at part of the meeting with Michelle, and we did say that since there's a co-op, they could possibly look at Old Saybrook. So that's may happen right now.
Will we get an idea, like, we will make that final decision?
I think that's going to be up to Todd at Public Works, but I think that's the path that we're going down right now.
Okay, thank you.
Why the commission is here too, there has been some communications and conversations about a way that honoring Bo in his retirement. So from the towns, from the employee side, we had a luncheon for him, which was well attended, and it was a very sweet afternoon, I have to say. But the commission has had conversations of a way to honor his 42 years and the impact he's had on the Clinton community, and they had unanimously recommended naming the IROC building after him. So I don't know if someone would like to speak to that, but they would like to let the council know that's something they consider and would like to know if the council supports that as a way to honor him.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
All in favor?
A discussion.
Your discussion?
Well-deserved. I worked with Bo as a football coach. I was on the Park and Rec Commission for many years ago. Kudos, well-deserved.
Are you planning on having an event in which the council would attend?
Yes, so absolutely. So long as you are all comfortable with that, and I know the commission's unanimously supporting that, I will work with Dustin and the commission, and we will get a date probably for later this month. We'll have to look at the calendar and have a small ceremony to name it after him, have his family there, and it'll be open to the public and the councils and all the other boards and commissions.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Question on that? I know you named the Public Works after Pete. Now, how did you guys do that? Like a sign? Did we do block letters?
So I
'Cause
think
would
we can have that conversation
you guys
internally.
approve it before we do anything?
I don't think they need to approve what the sign would actually look like. I think that as long as they've designated that that building can be renamed, how we go about it can be something that we can discuss internally, whether it's a sign or a rock or a bench or multiple locations.
Okay.
That's something that-
I just wanted some guidance so we can talk about it.
As long as they fully support you, then we can move forward with that.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great honor for Bo. I mean, obviously spending the amount of years that he did in this town and doing what he did for this town is something that you don't see a lot of, but
No.
he committed his life to this town.
More than half of his life, actually, is over.
Basically, not only knowing him working here, but knowing him personally as a friend. My family's known Bo for probably 60 years. So he is a great human being and be lost. Lucky to have new blood here, and hopefully follow through on what he's done. But it was great to have him here for those many years, and I think this is a great way to honor, what he's done for our community.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people don't realize the other stuff he did besides just, 9 to 5 in the office. The beach was sometimes a 7-day job, and problems and lights going off at the field, and he was here all the time. This was his life, and he did so many great things, so I totally support that.
So we have.
I've known Bob since 1988, when I started on the Park Rec, 14 years with that man. Then I coached when with Morgan with Jerry. I've been his personal friend since a long, long time, and I agree. He's done a lot of things behind the scenes that people always like to throw snowballs at people and stuff, but they don't look at the whole picture. And that man has done quite a bit of work for the town of Clinton. He's dedicated, as he said, he should have moved here to Clinton. He really should have. So I think this is more than fitting to name this building after Bo Potter. Matter of fact, we'll have to argue about that. Are we gonna say Robert Potter? Or are we gonna say Bo? Robert Bo Potter.
Yeah, with the
I
bow,
guess.
like a quote, yes. Bo definitely
Yeah,
has to be.
Bo's gotta be in there, because that's what we all know him as.
So we have a motion and a second, and I think we're done with discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
One last thing before you go. I don't want to talk about this now, but if we can get an update for our next meeting on the status and the future of the skate park, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
We are actually working on that. So the first step is, and I have a quote, to get the cameras fixed. That is the key to everything, is the cameras. So I have a quote for that. And I was waiting for Dustin to get, we kind of prioritized some of the, items that have been hot topics. The speaker was the first one, skate park is the next one. So he started officially on the 18th of May, so he's only has a few weeks under his belt, so I was going to give him a little time.
We also did receive a quote that has 3 options from Schumack. One that is completely taking it apart, 2, a 60/40 type split, and what was the third?
100% fix.
100%, yes, 100% rehab. But that's obviously going to cost a few bucks, so obviously.
And to add to that, we did reach out to 2 or 3 other contractors, and they didn't want to touch it. So Schumach's the only one that gave us quotes.
But we'll take a deeper dive into that, and it's not a quick decision, obviously. It's an impactful one, so.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with Brian. That I'd like to hear a little bit about this information because back when, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, there was discussion that they were going to close it. You're talking about the skate park.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
closed right
Yep.
now, yes.
Well, I mean, close.
Oh.
You know, get rid of it and do something else with it. And then I know there was a big outcry. At least I got a ton of emails that said, don't do it. And then all of a sudden, it just got quiet. So I think it'd be nice, and I know it's a little time-consuming for today, but to get a report about just what is the status. Now we're talking about putting cameras there and things like that.
There's been cameras. Unfortunately, they keep cutting them, and that was part of the vandalism, so.
Okay. Well, I think, you know, I would like to see a full report if you can.
Yeah, you heard that, so you got that message?
Yeah, I'll work with them on that as well.
One other topic.
Boy, Board and Park and Rec is a popular topic.
We're not normally like this.
One other topic is the basketball court.
Oh.
I'm sure the Park and Rec Commission maybe had brought you up to speed, but there was a basketball court at Indian River, and it got replaced by pickleball courts. Park and Rec Commission has had a long-standing tradition that, you know, you don't usually get rid of something to put something else in there. So the idea, I think the Park and Rec Commission has felt all along is that we would put a new basketball court somewhere. And the beach was a different project. That was taking the basketball court out of the parking lot and moving it to get more parking and keeping the facility there. So I think, and I know you've kicked around some ideas, but I think maybe bringing to the council, you know, some viable options that we can honestly consider and maybe put into the budget for next.
Would that be part of the capital improvement request process?
Yeah.
For next.
Definitely can prioritize.
Yeah, and to add to that, Chris, I think the current basketball court down at Peters is in dire need of replacement because there's been cracks. We've sealed it a couple of years ago, and they're cracking again. We're talking about a whole crack down the middle and a couple on the sides. So we have talked about putting that, replacing that one down at least at Peters right now. We've been talking about capital. And the little play area that's down at the beach, it does have 2 basketball hoops and 4 square and hopscotch. And from what I've been hearing, last year was a big success. And a lot of people down there like it because they can go in there and shoot around with their kids and all that. And it's definitely not a danger to anybody because it's not in the parking lot. So we have talked about certain areas, but we are limited with space right now.
Yeah, I know that's always been the problem. So, you know, if
I think, Marianne, you can correct me, Potter has kind of talked to you about possibly Elliott, because there was a current one there when I was there 40 years ago. But I know we talked about Elliott, that was the only spot in that area of that town.
Yeah.
But, you know, so we did have discussions about that.
50 years ago, there were 2 at Elliott.
Yes, yes. So there is a discussion, but like, you know, there's very limited space of town property here.
Yeah, it's a strange thing because if you drove around, you would think off the top of your head there's a lot of space, but I know when you start looking into it, there's not. But if you can put that on your list and maybe, you know, come to us with some ideas, I know you have support of some of the council members anyway that think that would be a good idea.
I love hearing do more. That's awesome to hear. Support for new projects.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 9, discussion of a possible, I'm sorry, number 7, Historic Document Preservation Program Grant. So
We
tell
have
us
our
about
town
that.
clerk here, Lisa, who I don't think you've met. This is Lisa Balter. She's our new town clerk.
Hi, Lisa. No, we have not met.
Nice to meet everybody officially.
So Lisa will speak to the grant.
Okay, my request for this grant is to continue the work that our former town clerk had put in place to finish the second phase of project that we, to preserve our land records and to make them more accessible for the public. The first half of the grant was for the 2026 year, a $5,000 grant that scanned our beginning volumes 1 through 34 and our indexes from 1663 to 1953 onto a USB drive. The second phase of the grant, which I'm requesting, is to now take those records and upload them to the online system so that they're researchable and accessible to all. A lot of title searchers really value the ability to search from anywhere. It just makes the job for attorneys, title searchers, and the public so much more accessible to not have to come in during business hours. This project cost would be $4,000, which is the amount that the grant is providing for our population base this for the 2027 period.
All right, do I hear a motion to authorize and direct the town manager to sign the Historic Preservation Grant application in the amount of $4,000?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
Planning and zoning.
So I've invited Abby to come and give an update. We have a lot of activity happening and a lot of applications, and Abby is the keeper of all of that. So she is here to give an overview of some of the projects going on and the status of some of them.
Anxious to hear. Hey, Abby.
Good morning. It's good to see you. So there's a ton. I've got like a 2.5-page sort of list of things that are going on. So I'm going to move sort of quickly, but if there's something that you want to hear more about, or you want me to come back and do things in more detail, I know you have a full
If maybe an idea would be to share the list?
Yep, so I can absolutely share the list. This is just my bullet points of stuff to sort of talk about. And I've broken it out into the planning and zoning projects that are before folks, kind of a just quick summary of some of the businesses that have opened this year and what's kind of going on in that realm. The grants that we're working on in the department, and then a list of sort of general projects that are kind of keeping the back of house things running for us. So in terms of stuff that's up before our boards and commissions, Planning and Zoning and Inland Wetlands are working through the Aldi project at 224 East Main. It was approved last night at the Inland Wetlands Commission, so that will move on Monday night to the hearing at the Planning and Zoning Commission, and it's eligible for a decision. So that's something that is going forward. They had met all of their stormwater requirements for wetlands protection, so we're excited about that. I'm working with the folks from Pearson for the Pearson project to split the land appropriately for future transfer and closing so that the town retains that front green portion. So we were able to work for a zoning compliant way to do that. So they will be having their public hearing on Monday at the Planning and Zoning Commission as well. The landfill project is coming through the local permitting process. So
If you don't mind, we interrupt you as you go on each one. Is there a change to the planning and zoning for that separation of that land use with Pearson?
Yeah, so what would need to happen there, so the lot needs to be, we're creating a rear lot for the school and the parking lot and all the land that would be retained by the developer, and creating a front lot that only includes the green, the gazebo, and those types of pieces. So there will be obviously the pieces that get leased back to the town that are on the developer parcel. But what we've done is create a zoning compliant rear lot, which is essentially a lot that has like a driveway and then it widens out in the back. So we have a front piece of land that is the green and a back piece of land for the school and the rest of the housing and all that kind of stuff. So what we did was configure those lot lines in a way that meets the zoning regulations, that when the time comes to close, it's easy to say, okay, now we can make this transfer happen.
You answered my question. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So the landfill is moving through the local permitting process. That was, the Inland Wetlands Commission had a conversation about it last night. They will likely make a decision on that at their July meeting, and it will be received by the Planning and Zoning Commission hopefully on Monday as well. 335 East Main Street, this is the property just before you get to Grove Gardens. They are looking at putting in 6 self-storage buildings, so a pretty substantial amount of self-storage on that property. They have their continued public hearing on the 8th as well, and so they've met all their requirements, so we're expecting that perhaps they could have an action from the commission on that date. We're working through our new regulations, so we recently adopted new stormwater regulations to make us compliant with all the state requirements that we have to do to protect our water resources, so that's in place and goes into effect June 10th. And then we've been doing a lot of work on our housing regulations to be compliant with the new housing legislation that goes into effect July 1st. So there will be a special public hearing from the Planning and Zoning Commission on June 22nd for folks to review those pieces. They involve allowing certain size middle housing 2 to 9 units by rights in our business, village, and transit-oriented districts of the Unilever property, and also looking at a parking district that allows us to still require parking on those types of applications. So anywhere that would be affected by the new regulation, they wouldn't have to, the exemption to parking wouldn't be, that's written into the state legislation wouldn't be required. So we're working on that. If anybody has questions on it, please let me know. There is a project on Cow Hill Road that's working its way through the Wetlands Commission right now. It will be an 830G affordable housing project for 17 units, partially off of Martin Drive and partially off of Cow Hill. So that's something that is coming forward, and so it's one to watch. Lots of little single-family home projects and those kinds of things. There's ongoing construction at 7 and 11 Liberty Place for the 40 apartments, and that was an affordable project that's under construction. The other is we're waiting on finalizing documents for 5 Liberty Place next door to that property for another affordable housing project, and that has 24 apartments. So there's a lot of housing conversation going on right now. In terms of, so that's kind of the snapshot of what's before the boards and commissions. In terms of projects and things that may be sort of coming forward. So we've been doing a lot of business support with folks and trying to kind of help folks who have had recent emergencies and find new places and really try to kind of be there to support our community. We did have a business resiliency event that was not super popular so far, and so we're hoping that we can reschedule it into the fall, to really kind of talk about what happens and give people resources and bring together state small business development center, Eversource resources, and really kind of give people tools to use ahead of disaster striking to kind of help them through that process. So we're going to try to reschedule that for the fall. Some of the other things, we've had a few, businesses open, which is fantastic, and a lot of them you probably know about. So you're all familiar with Lily's and Tony's Barbershop moving over from where Aldi's is going to go into 327 East Main. We're waiting on Julie's Cup of Joe to come into Post Office Square near Lily's. We have Pink Moon and Sea that also opened at 327 East Main, and Sunday's Pie Truck moved down to that side of town. So that little pocket of town is seeing a lot of activity right now. We're excited to see that the Hangry Goose open and doing well, which is wonderful. We have the Drifting Galley, our food truck, down at the end of Riverside Drive, and then I believe that Sweet Emilia's ice cream truck is looking to come back in its location from last year, where they were at 237 East Main, so just kind of out along that stretch. So there's good stuff happening there. In terms of other things, Panera and Chase at Indian River, they're moving. They're still sort of going through their construction. Grand is still working through their construction pieces, so they are plugging away. I don't have an opening date from them yet, but
I spoke to Mike yesterday. He came to see me, and late fall they're looking.
Late fall, okay. So I know they've had some discussion on kitchen layouts and stuff. So. And then, there has been ongoing conversation with the owner of the Unilever property. The latest that I heard from their new attorney was there's a potential for them to come in with an application in July to expand the district to cover the properties on the corner and kind of reconfigure their master plan. Nothing official has come in yet. That hasn't been, it hasn't been submitted. But
expand what kind of district? What kind of district is it now that they would expand? Is it a transit-oriented?
It's a transit-oriented district, yep. And so the idea that they would, it's our transit-oriented district is an overlay, so they would want to expand that overlay to account for all of the property that they own, that they've acquired over the last several years. And then perhaps do some reconfiguration of some of the uses and density of housing proposed in that area. Again, nothing is concrete, so I don't want to give details and then have them change, but it is something that's in constant conversation. So that's kind of what's going on around those pieces. I'll put a little plug in for the trolley. It's up, it's running. Thank you, and I wanted to thank DPW because they put all the signs up for everybody to know where the trolley stops are and stuff, and they were fantastic about running around and doing that for us, so that was great. There's a lot of grants work going on right now that is just in the grants administration. So these are all for projects that you guys have previously approved. We're working on multiple SHIP, Small Harbor Improvement Program projects through the Connecticut Port Authority. So today I will be going out to the marina with the chair of our Harbor Management Commission, our harbor master, DPW. Dustin is coming from Parks and Rec. And we're going to start, and we're meeting with DEEP to talk about the concepts for the platform that would go over behind the harbor master's office and between the boat launch repairs, and the accessible kayak launch at Esposito. So that's our most recent, those projects are packaged into our most recent SHIP grant.
So that grant has been approved, right? Do we have?
Yep, it's been approved, it's underway. Race Coastal Engineers is working on it. We are moving forward, we're compliant with all the reporting, and I'm in pretty close communication with the Port Authority just to make sure they know what we're doing. The meeting today to talk to DEEP is to make sure, we believe that the kayak launch is sort of the simpler part of the conversation. The platform will be the bigger part of it. And what we want to make sure is that as we are narrowing down concept plans, that the Harbor Management Commission is looking to say, okay, this is our priority, which is very similar to what you've already seen and approved in the grant application. We want to hear from DEEP and make sure that if there's any permitting barriers or questions, that we answer them going into the project. So we're trying to be efficient in what we give to DEEP. So their permitting folks will be coming down today to meet with us. So that's moving forward, and part of that conversation will be how do we improve the pitch of the boat ramp to make sure that folks are launching and they're not sort of sticking the back of their truck in the water in high tide. So that's been a constant issue. So we'll work through that. I know the dredge project is moving forward, which is a separate thing, not funded by SHIP, but it is the sampling and design for that is well underway. There is another round of SHIP grant funding that at some point we'll talk about, but we want to get through the ones we have first. Another SHIP project is our harbor management plan, and so this has been going on for a long time, predates me. It's officially, the final plan is with DEEP for formal review. We expect that all of the required agency comments should be back to them by June 16th. Once DEEP gives final comments and the Harbor Management Commission makes them, they will go ahead and adopt that plan. They will bring it to you for endorsement. There may be minor ordinance changes just to change the language from things like, selectmen to council and those kinds of things, but that's moving. And so we'll be able to close that grant out, which is wonderful, because we really want to get some of these off the books.
That's a second SHIP grant?
That's
And what's that for again?
That was to do the harbor management plan, and that sort of hung out for a while, and so it's good to get this one closed up. It's nice because it matches our other planning efforts, and so everything now, all of our plans are kind of tied into each other, which is really nice. So that's going on. I just wanted to let you know that I'll come back for you for endorsement. Let's see, and then the other old SHIP grant is the boat ramp itself, and I could talk a little bit about that, but that is a much older grant, and we're going to be working through now to get that closed out as well. So the idea is that we're trying to move through all of our Port Authority projects so that we're eligible for new funding as it comes available. I'm working also in connection with this. Some of our ARPA funds went to do some pedestrian and landscaping improvements and some drainage improvements for the parking lot side of things. So the Race Coastal Engineers is working on the immediate waterfront, but CHA, our town engineering firm, is working on sprucing up and creating plans for the parking lot area and the connectivity on that side. So we're working in close connection there so that the entire marina area has its plan for the future. We're also working on separate grant funds with Dustin and the Park and Rec Commission for the beach and looking at erosion at the beach. So that is ongoing. Conceptual plans were just submitted late yesterday, and they were given to the commission to start taking an initial look at. I'm waiting for the written report from Race about that as well, but it will have the recommendations for which way we should approach the erosion over at the Dog Beach side of things, and then also how we look at the beach itself to maintain the proper profiles so that we can make sure that which, we handle the erosion and kind of what's happening with the sand blowing across the parking lot and kind of how we maintain that beach over time. So that's all coming. Federal local bridge program. We have 3 bridges that I'm sure you're aware of. There was the Country Village Lane and Ben Merrill that have had their public meetings and are kind of underway with their final design. The public meeting for the Waterside Lane Bridge, I believe Michelle told you about, is tomorrow at 6 o'clock. And so it will be recorded, but it's an important one. And so I want folks just to be aware that that's coming up. The sidewalk project going from the center of town, from sort of the John Street, Pearl Street intersection going to Grove and North High is underway. I'm expecting 60% design to come back to us June 12th or in that range. And that's a next milestone for that project, that we get a chance to look at it, approve it, the state approves it, and then it gets allowed to go to final design. So that I just want to let you know that's ongoing, and the plan for that project is to have it in bidding and construction for next spring and summer. And we will talk about what that construction period looks like, because I know that's an incredibly narrow spot and a tough one.
Is it both sides of the street?
It's both sides, yep. So that's happening. CMDA, the Connecticut Municipal Development Authority, has decided they are going to include that TODO, that transit-oriented district that covers sort of the Unilever area of town, into that memorandum of understanding that they're processing through with Michelle. So that is moving forward with their board. After our regulation amendments for the housing, our business districts may also be eligible, and just, that unlocks zoning support and some housing and some other funding for projects as we go. I know there's a lot, I'm sorry. If you need me to stop anytime, I will and come back. But the CDS project, the congressionally directed spending, $500,000 for the wastewater system. So we know that's been awarded. I have been working with representatives from the EPA and their consulting firm to get us eligible to apply for the grant we have to apply for in order to access those funds. So we were awarded at Congress, and now our next step is to actually formally apply to the EPA to access the money. Bob and I both attended a couple of webinars that are required. There's another 10 hours of training that has to go in order for us to make that application. So we are working through that process now. The application is confirmed that we're eligible to apply and ready, but there's no confirmed timeline yet for when the funds will be available. So once we submit that application, I'll let you know when we think we're going to have news on when that can come forward. So we're still holding our match, our $200,000 in capital, but we are moving that project forward. And then we sat in on the CDBG small cities funding opportunity, just to explore whether or not that's a potential funding source for us for our projects. Other pieces, the hazard mitigation plan is in its final stages, and so this is something we do every 5 years through the RiverCog, and they create sort of a little annex plan for us in that all of our emergency services and building official and everybody who needs to have input into that has. The final edits are underway at RiverCog. They will give that to FEMA and DEMIS for review, and then it will come back eventually for us to adopt. So that will also come before you for adoption in the future. If anybody wants links to any of this stuff, I can send them out. I'm working on our GIS system still. We're doing cleanup projects and trying to improve our data management. So one of the larger projects we're working on right now is coordinating address points in the 911 system. And been working with Mike Neff and Tassos has been helping us with that to just make sure that the data that we have in our GIS system matches what is in dispatch. And if we make changes to put things into correct locations, for example, adding an address point at the point where fire may need to access a property, and making sure that things line up, that everybody is working from the same data, and that it's consistent, and that it's consistently updated in a way that everybody can access. Where we're looking at the potential to create an online kayak trails map and trying to get something that's really kind of interactive and neat, and isn't really something you see a lot of around the shoreline, so kind of creating something there. We're also doing just boring parcel data cleanup and making sure that our data, again, is good. That project that I mentioned to you before, as part of our budget for this year, we'll be moving forward with updating our back of house data for the permitting system to make sure that all ties into all of this data that I'm talking about, so everything is seamless. And that's really the goal here, is that all of our data has one source, it gets pushed out, and everybody's working from the same information. So that's all coming We've been partnering with the post office to clean up mail delivery issues, and some of that relates to this addressing and parcel issues. So, all of these things, we're trying to, again, make sure that we're kind of in lockstep with our other agencies. The Liberty Green and our, what I keep calling Veterans Park, although I don't know if that's the official title of it, on the corner of Commerce. I've heard lots of different names for it. So that is in conversation right now between Todd, Gary Bousquet, and I know there's a lot of community interest in what is happening with those pieces. We are looking at getting, some basic concept plans out to folks so that we can bring in community partners, stakeholders, whether it's for the tree committee, beautification, any of the folks, conservation, and anybody, who may need to be involved, but trying to make sure that we have a plan and a clear sort of community vision for what that green is going to be over time, what types of trees, what types of planting, how will it be managed, so that we're not in a position of being reactive when something needs to come down because it's a safety threat, but let's talk about what we want this space to be and how it's going to operate for the town. So we're working on providing those plans as well. Other things, we were just recertified under the Sustainable Connecticut Bronze Program. So there's an award ceremony June 11th, and if anybody was available to go, feel free. But kudos to the Sustainability Committee for all of their work on that, because they really, really pushed. Very soon, we're going to be issuing the RFP for the zoning regulations update. So once that money becomes available July 1, we want to be able to push that out. And then I've been working with Todd in support of some of the outfall testing and regulatory updates and public education and outreach that's necessary for MS4 compliance for our stormwater management. So that's all going on as well. And then I'm not going to get into any details on enforcement, but just know that in the background there is substantial. We're getting into grass season and folks coming out to sort of really be interested in what their neighbors are doing. So we're hearing a lot of whether it's blight complaints or issues with folks having roosters or whatever else it is. So all of that is going on a daily basis as well. So I'm going to be quiet, and if there's any questions, I know you probably want to get out of here, but I just want to give you a snapshot, and then I can, like I said, I can give you this list, and if there's stuff you want to go into more detail, I'm happy anytime.
I have a couple questions. One is, you talked about the Unilever property and the expansion of making it a transit-oriented district for all of his property, your discussion with him about that. And then you also mentioned that the CMDA, you're revising our agreement to expand it. Are they related? Is that?
So the way that the CMDA works is they review, so that you sort of put your interest in with them, and they review which zoning districts are potentially would meet the criteria for inclusion in their program. Right now, the Toto district is the only district that we have that meets that. So that's why that one is the only one in there. And then as we go, depending on how we handle our housing conversation, our business districts may also be able to come into that. So it's the developer is not in direct communication with CMDA, but participation in the CMDA program has the potential to unlock funding for project advancement. So
the revision to the MOA, is that done yet with CMDA?
So the backup materials are there. It rests. I don't know, Michelle, if you've had any further conversation with David. It has to go to their board.
Their board, right. It has to go
Okay.
to their board first.
And how about, where do you stand with Unilever and the change of their property to be?
So they have to come in and apply. So it's all conversation right now. So they have an approved zoning district. They have an approved master plan. There are things that they could come back in and apply for officially. So if they wanted to start with the next round of apartments or building the road that goes out to North High, those things could happen under the current plan. My understanding is that they have some modifications based on market conditions and where they want to take the property. And those things may necessitate changing that master plan. And they also, because they have, since they did the original master plan in district boundaries, they've acquired more property on the corner. They want to be able to pull that into the district and include it in that master planning effort.
Thank you. My other question is, you talked about the GIS data and you're organizing it, and you want one central location so all the data is commonly referred to, so that there's not different answers. My question to you is, where's that data housed? Is it on-prem or is it on cloud?
So it's cloud-based, and there's the piece here is going to be we're going to have to create sort of periodic touch points where the data, if there's changes made, then we make sure it is pushed out to all the various systems and goes that way, because there are likely pieces of information, for example, like in the next gen and CAD dispatch stuff, that is not something that we need or should have in the planning office, right? So there's not every piece of information is going to follow, but that base of, is there an appropriately located address point? Is there information, do we know, when a new apartment building gets built, do we have points for the units as necessary? So if somebody gets called to building 1 unit E, they know exactly where they're going. And so that's been something that we've been talking with Brian and Mike about. And I think we had talked a while back on it, but we wanted to make sure that that's continuing forward. So it won't be pulling from the same data. We'll have to make sure that we duplicate that data and get it out to the various systems, because like NextGen, for example, is not an open system where they are going to refer to our GIS database in live time. When we make changes, we will have to push it to them, because there's security pieces around that, if that makes sense.
It does. You answered my question. Thanks. Any other questions from anybody in the council?
I just want to thank you for everything you're doing, and that update is really good, because a lot of people in the town, I joke all the time, the town just likes shiny things and nice new shiny things, which is still true. But it's important for the town to know about sidewalks and, all the work that's, wastewater projects and all the stuff that you're doing, that long laundry list. So I appreciate everything you're doing.
Thanks.
Thank you, Abby.
Good work. Good report. Thank you. Okay. Item number 9, discussion and possible action requiring request to access the Board of Education non-lapsing account.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for allowing me to come here this morning and for your consideration. So I'm here today to request access to the non-lapsing account for a capital item. This is actually a shared project with the town. So the paper I handed out is kind of a summary of it. I'll give you a quick overview, but you can reference it here. On Monday night, the board did authorize me to come down here, so they're aware of this project. It's gone through our Building and Grounds Subcommittee as well. So ultimately, we have our S2 door security software, which is shared with the town. That is our swipes for all our doors to keep our buildings locked and secure, as well as a fiber network that we have that was a town project originally. That fiber network connects all of the municipal and Board of Ed buildings together. And between each building and the fiber connections, there are switches in each of those locations. That keeps all of the data flowing properly. If one goes down, right now there's a redundancy, so the design of the network is really robust and it's interconnected. Periodically, those switches need to be upgraded. We're in a position where in planning, Mike Neff is our network security administrator. He works for the Board of Ed, but he also does the same for the town. So he manages that with Ivan as well as with Frank. And so basically we were notified that the network switches are reaching end of life and support in January of 2027. So it was a little quicker than anticipated. There was planning that happened. We do have a shared memorandum of understanding about how those services work, and so we all got together. There was some planning on the town side, and originally it was looked at that we would replace this over, the switches over like a 3-year pattern. But as we realized the end of support and service, right, there's a vulnerability that happens that if something were to go down and that switch hadn't been replaced, depending on the location, it could impact police, it can impact town, it could impact schools' flow of fiber network communications. So as we met late April, beginning of May, the board or the town has budgeted for a portion to do this 3-year piece. And in the past, the town has done this project, and 8 to 10 years ago, they did the first switch replacement. But since we've joined our services, we met and really discussed that it probably should be joint support between the board funding and the town funding these projects, rather than it all being a town piece. In addition, as we met and we talked about the potential vulnerabilities once we're past the support in January, if we didn't do it all as one project, we feel as a committee, and it was Ivan and Michelle and Bob, and then Mike Neff, myself, Chuck Carey, and Frank Rossi, who is our tech director. We met and we really talked about the importance we feel of replacing these switches right now. And the S2 security system is a little bit separate, but it is our security, and that has reached capacity so that we can't add anything, and the software needs to be upgraded. So we have these two pieces. The town had budgeted for a third of the project, looking at it as a 3-year piece, but we really all felt that we need to move sooner than this. One of the other considerations is doing it as a singular project prevents escalating costs, and we're in a position right now where we have a locked-in price for this, but we are concerned with everything happening in the world that we're going to see escalation if we wait even to the fall to ask. So coming out of that, I then worked with the board. We, with Frank and Mike, got some specific pricing. It's locked in right now. The town does have, town budget passed, capital, they have in operating the money, their portion. This is our portion. The board's portion would be, it's estimated at 60. It's just a little bit less than that, but until we lock in, we wanted to give the couple $1,000s of extra. So I anticipate, it'll be a little bit less than the 60,000 if it is approved today. So this is a kind of unexpected capital. It's not something we planned for, but I believe it's a project that, the experts, Mike Neff, Frank, Ivan, feel like we need to move forward on, and to protect that, the system, and make sure that we're operational and we don't put ourselves in a vulnerable position after January 27th. So that's why I'm here today. There's a recommended motion. I can answer any questions. Frank can answer questions as well. But we're hoping that we can access the non-lapsing, and then we would move forward with the project so that it would be completed before January.
Great, thanks for that. So on the agenda, it's listed as a discussion item with possible action. I have a suggested motion, and I'll see if you have a person that wants to make the motion. The motion would be that the town council authorizes the Board of Education to access the non-lapsing account funds for operating expenses associated with unanticipated capital costs related to network switches and the S2 system as presented by the Board of Education in the amount of $60,000. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
What does that leave the balance in the non-lapsing, do we know?
About 900,000.
Yeah, so I think it'll be just under 900,000. He's got it.
Because it's roughly
It was 9:30.
or something like that.
It's all up here.
It's all right here.
It's like 9:30.
It's right here.
I think we're at 9:30 right now.
Yeah, 9:32 or something like that, so, yeah.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Can I just share one more thing? Not to be the bearer of other news.
Once you
but-
sell the car, you're supposed to leave.
No, because I might have to buy a new one. It's a bigger car. It's a bigger car. So we were made aware of a concern related to our boilers at Joel School. We were doing a repair, we had the money to do that, the board authorized it, and in doing the repair, there's some concern about cracking within our boilers. So we did a further inspection, and it looks like we may need to replace those boilers before the heating season. So we're in the process of getting pricing. That is a bigger ticket. And so likely I will be back in a few weeks to talk to you about that. This may be a source of the funds that we need because of the timing of the project. But we're also, we're looking at, we have some grant funding, the DRIP grant fund we can apply. So I don't really have pricing, but it is a much bigger project that may impact this request. But it is something that we're concerned about. And if the heating system goes down, if boilers go down, we just can't operate schools. So we'll be back, but I wanted to at least put that on the radar, that is a concern. And I've talked with Michelle and Bob about it as well, so they're aware.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be there. Item 10, Human Services Clinical Position Appointment.
Okay, so this position, we finally have a candidate. It's been vacant since 2023. It's been a much-needed position in the town, and the team over in Human Services has been carrying some of the caseload, but it's not been easy. The individual that I would like to hire, Veronica, has been with the town for 2 years. She's been an intern, she's been an intern. So she is well aware of the workload, the clients, comes highly recommended. Kathy and I interviewed her. She's a wonderful individual and will be a nice addition. So I am asking for the council to approve her appointment.
I've worked with Veronica in the past.
Yeah, she's great.
She is amazing.
She is amazing.
Highly recommended.
Yes. I grew up in Clinton, pretty much.
What is this position budgeted for pay?
$35 an hour. It's a non-union.
Right. But that's what we're giving her, is that what we have budgeted for?
We have budgeted $35 an hour, and she has to take an exam in August, so she's coming
We
in.
budgeted 35 an hour for how many hours?
It's 35, we budgeted the 37 and a half, the max, but it's a little bit of flex depending on the caseload, and some seasons, there's more activities going on over there, and she would also be assisting with some of that as well.
So our budget is 37 and a half hours for $35 an hour.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's been vacant since 2023, but it's
No, I know.
budgeted every year, so.
So is this a position that the council ratifies your recommendation? or
Yes,
is
it's
it-
a non-union, yes.
So,
You would just approve the appointment of her.
so do we have a motion to approve the appointment?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Abstain? Motion carries. All right, next, we need to set the mill rate for the 2026-2027 fiscal year. Bob, you want to, you have anything to tell us?
Just that I recommend a mill rate of 22.24 for the fiscal year 2026-27, based on the 2025 grand list.
That's pretty close to what we estimated prior to the...
That's what was in the legal ad, yes.
Okay, do I hear a motion that the town council hereby sets the rate of taxation on the taxable property of the town for July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027 fiscal year at the mill rate of 22.24?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Thanks, Bob. Line item, or agenda item number 12, a line item transfer request, police and DPW.
Bob, you want to speak to that?
Yes, a small request. They have amounts available in repairs and maintenance. They needed an additional amount in clothing allowance, and then we did do a large transfer to snow plowing / sanding, but it's a little off, so we needed an additional amount of 2,400 plus.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to transfer $3,464.46 from the repair and maintenance account 014301-54300 to two accounts, clothing allowance and snow plowing and sanding, and the amount of the clothing allowance is $1,007.36, and the amount of snow plowing and / sanding is $2,457.10. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Transfer. One more transfer.
Oh. Next line item, transfer. Who's speaking to that, you or Bob?
Oh, Vin. Oh, okay. So they're requesting, I'm assuming it's the contractual, $2,200. They're taking from longevity to increase a few of the other line items within their budget. Police, other items, marine support for $1,400. I believe there was an issue with the boat. And then animal control, professional services for certifications and trainings.
Do I hear a motion to transfer $2,200 from police longevity to the following accounts?
So moved.
Police other items, $400. Police marine support, $1,400. And animal control, professional services, $400.
So moved.
Motion Dennis, second.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that's it for line item transfers.
Yes.
Town managers report.
Okay, so Abby covered a couple of things, so I can shorten it a little bit. Last week, 2 weeks ago, I attended a DOT meeting for paving on 81 with police, public works up at DOT, and the project is going to be paving Route 1 in Clinton to Route 80 in Killingworth. It's about 6 miles of road that's going to be paved. Milling is set to start 6/9 with anticipated finishing of 6/25, and the paving will start June 29th and go into mid-August. It's wrap up around August 17th, and that again is depending on the weather, and hopefully we'll have a nice dry summer.
Where is that?
Route 81, so the whole strip from
Route 1 all the
Killingworth.
way to the circle up in Killingworth, right? You said
Yes.
all the way to Route 8.
Yeah.
And
It was supposed to be, I think, in 1920, and then it got pushed, and we got back on their
2020.
list, which is great.
2020.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
So the big question is, when are they doing the section that's by, we're very busy near I-95, right? That's
They're starting in Killingworth and coming down.
okay.
So I don't know, I have the map upstairs with what they're anticipating, but I don't know if they broke it down by they're gonna be in that stretch on July 5th.
Does it make sense to make a courtesy call to Clinton Crossings to let them know?
Oh, yeah, the police do that, and we'll be in touch with all of them, and we'll put out a press release and all that, but I just wanted the council to know. A couple weeks ago, I mentioned that the Eagle Scouts were doing a service project to have a bike repair station installed at Bailey's Dog Park at no cost to the town. They have done that, so I have a picture of it, if you don't know what it looks like, to pass around. I wanted to thank the Eagle Scouts for providing this on behalf of the town. We greatly appreciate them. So that's a picture of the bike repair station, which I'm sure will be utilized. We have a ribbon cutting, which Abby mentioned. We have a new business, Pink Moon and Sea, which there's ribbon cutting today. I had sent an email at 10 o'clock at 327 East Main Street. I booked the final band last week, or actually Wednesday, Monday. So the concerts are all scheduled at Pearson Gazebo starting July 9th to August 6th. So a press release will be going out announcing the bands.
You had mentioned the possibility of it being done at Post Office Square.
We did, but due to the construction delay for Pearson now, the gazebo is available. So we're going to host it there where it historically has been. And then once the construction starts, we will have to obviously relocate it. So it is better, the more that we talked about it logistically, having more time to establish that as an area in Post Office Square to have the concerts, the better off we would be. There is also an event, which I'm going to just talk really quick about, planned on August 8th, which will be closing off Post Office Square and doing bands. So it's kind of like a test run. That is a 250th day festival. So the goal will be to eventually get them there, but this season we don't have to, which is I'm frankly grateful for. Abby also mentioned that the small business event that was scheduled for June 9th has been postponed due to the attendance. I did have a meeting with Connecticut Main Street this week, and the resilience workshop is something that they really haven't seen. They work with 120 municipalities, and a lot of municipalities don't even acknowledge it. And unfortunately, we did have a very popular local business suffer a fire, and a lot of businesses think this isn't going to happen to them, and it very well can happen to them. So this is all disaster recovery, what you should have in place, resources that are available, what Red Cross can help with, and all of those. So we are going to schedule it in the fall. We are going to try to push it out statewide. We did push it out to Clinton and Madison. I think it's a combination of this time of year. It's busy, June graduations and things like that. And fall is hurricane season, so it might be a way to get people already kind of thinking in that way, and it might help them to attend. So that will be rescheduled. Waterside Lane Bridge info session is on Thursday night from 6 to 7 in the green room. I'm having it recorded so that those who cannot attend, we can share that with them on our website and social media. The project is scheduled to start in 2028 and be done in 2030. So Abby and I have had we met with DOT this week, and we saw their presentation. It is very thorough. It's a great opportunity for the public, and I encourage people to come and learn more about it. This is a long meeting, so I'm not going to go into all the events. I will send an email out to the council with the list of events for the 250th celebration, but it is very active. There's many groups doing things within the town. The Historical Society is doing some events. The library is doing some events. The schools had done some events. And then there is a festival planned for August 8th. It's going to be Clinton's 250th Festival Day. It starts at 9 or 9:30, 9 in the morning, and it's going to run into the evening. We're still in the planning stages of that, and once we have that all finalized, we will get that out to the press. There are going to be banners going up along the street, finally, for 250th, so that'll be a nice addition. There's 32 of them going up on the light poles. So that will be happening in the next few weeks. And then, in addition to those events, we have some of the annual events. Our boat parade will have a 250th theme. The
boat parade is going to be on August 8th or on August?
No, that's August 29th, yes. And then the George Flynn concerts will be a collaboration with the schools, and 250th, and American Songbook is the schedule for that. So it has been weaved into our existing or annual events, and then there are a significant amount of other events, like I said, added, and I will send this out and I will include it in my minutes to the public as well. And we will, once these are all finalized, we'll make a tab on our Facebook page, on our town website, so people can see what's happening there. And then, let's see what else I have on my event, and that is it for my report.
Thanks.
Mr. Faster than I thought.
Item number 14 on the chairman's report. That's me. So the first thing is the schedule from Amy Jennings, the HR person on the performance evaluation. You got an email in your town email box suggesting dates. I think Jerry got back to her. There was a date or two that was a challenge to him. But on June 2nd, she will present a draft performance review to the Performance Review Committee. That is Jerry and Chris. Did you get that?
Yep.
And then if that passes your muster, then on June 8th, that was June 2nd, on June 8th, we'll meet with the Performance Review Committee. She will meet with you and Jerry to finalize the performance review and salary increase schedule. And then on June 10th, provide a performance review to the town council for approval. And then June 15th, provide performance review questionnaire and goals to the town manager with a 2-week deadline for the town manager to get it back to us. And that will be 2 parts, right, is my understanding, and see if this is the same as yours. It'll be a statement of performance of what was expected and what was done for the prior year, and then goals for the next year.
The only thing that came up with in my reviewing of that is the date for June 10th says for town council approval. Unless there's a formal town council meeting, there can't be action. So I don't know if it's an actual, vote approval, or if it's just a informal conversation.
Yeah, it's
That's why I
informal.
just want to make.
Thank you.
Because if you're conducting business
Yeah.
in a quorum, it does need to be a posted meeting.
Thanks.
Even if it's an executive session, if you're they're conducting it via email with a quorum, constitutes as a meeting.
Yeah.
So you either need to do it in groups, smaller subsections, or you need to call a special meeting and have an executive session to do that.
Or we could just skip the June 10th thing, and what the committee says is good enough, that the council-wide. What do you guys think?
I think what she meant with approval is just to.
Oh, we still have a quorum, there's 4 of us.
But if you're having, if you're sending emails amongst yourselves saying, I'm good with it, and there's more, it's a quorum, then that constitutes as a meeting amongst the council. So that's, I'm just trying to,
Yeah, if she sends an email to all of us, that's a.
and you
yeah.
all respond. That's
Yeah.
why in some, my emails, I usually say reply, don't hit reply all, reply directly to me, because it bypasses the meeting.
Yeah.
So you could do that. You
Yeah,
can,
that's-
you
so
can
do it that
change
way.
that and just say, you know,
Send it
above is
individually.
is something to review. Please respond individually directly to me with your feedback and thoughts. And maybe not approval is kind of a formal word, just your thoughts.
Got it. Okay. And then on June 29th, by June 29th, and it could be sooner, we'll get back from the town manager the completed self-review to all the town council members, along with our individual review documents. Then we'll do our evaluation, and all completed evaluations will then be submitted to the HR person and transmitted by July 6th. So that's a short window from June 29th to July 6th. It's a bit aggressive, but maybe these other dates will be earlier. And we can always change it if we're not ready. And then on July 15th, the results will be compiled and presented to the town council from the HR outside consultant. And then on August 1st or thereabouts, results presented to the town manager at the town council meeting, executive session. I don't know if we have a meeting on August 1st. We probably don't, but somewhere around that date.
I don't know when August.
So what do you guys think of that process and those dates?
Yeah, I already reviewed it. I mean, it looked, whatever, like, you know, I think she's just trying to get it going.
Yeah,
and
just
try
give a
to
framework or structure.
Yeah, and try to get it done on a better time frame than we have in the past, so that's good. I think your question, Hank, and I don't know the answer to it, but I feel like a broken record, but I keep saying we have to talk about the past and then the future. They're two separate things, so I'm not sure, you know, if that's all incorporated together, but, you know, we're evaluating the past and then setting goals for the future.
So if you don't mind taking the action to reach out to
Yeah.
Amy and make sure that's true, because you're the subcommittee and you probably should react
Yeah.
or interact with her. And just make sure that our understanding is correct. Anything else from anybody else? All right, that's that item. Next is, we talked a couple times, and Bob has explained it to me, and you have too, about the $1.4 million for the sidewalks that we got a grant. And I don't really understand the accounting. If you don't mind providing the town, if the council agrees, this is my opinion, that we request an explanation, just something simple that we could understand of how that worked. Because you were explaining it to me that there was something a little unusual there, and I don't really understand it. Next, we have a bunch of nonprofits in town that are doing things that last year the town did. Like, for example, Christmas in Clinton is being done by Placemakers, fireworks is being done by Land's Hedge and others. And so it might be a good idea, somebody on the council, we have normal formal liaisons with boards and commissions, so there's nothing formal to do with charities, but it wouldn't be bad for the council to know what's going on. So if we had a person on the council that just had a natural relationship that would be able to keep the council apprised, it's town activity that's going on, that I'd be interested in knowing what's going on. So for Placemakers, you probably have interacted with them the most. And so if you could tell us how they're just let us know how they're doing with Christmas in Clinton. I'm sure it's probably going
Yeah,
fine.
that
but-
one, that event in particular, because we did it hand in hand last year. We've been in contact with them, but there's not huge changes except for obviously the date. But if there's a significant change, I will absolutely let you know. But once we get a little closer to it, obviously, it's far off.
And then on fireworks, Chris, you seem to have a closer relationship with the people that are running that charity. I don't
I
really
mean, I
know
think they're raising money.
how they make it out. You know, you have any idea?
Yeah, I mean, they're doing
Everything going all right?
fundraisers, and they've raised money. The townwide tax sale that they had to shut
Rain.
down early because of the rain and everything
Yeah.
else, so it wasn't like a great hit, but they did make money. But again, it's just, you know, getting together and raising money.
Okay.
That's their drive right now.
There's something else that I heard about that, not a Bluefish Festival, but something's going on with,
There, Carol Walter and Placemakers is going to be putting together, it's not finalized yet, but it would be the same day as the fireworks and the boat parade, a dock day. I guess back in the day, there used to be something similar down at the marina. So there would be a dog diving contest, a boat building contest, some music. Carol is working directly with Rob, and we have a meeting, we're coordinating a date to come together to see, but we've already met with the police and to make sure there's no issues with parking and things like that. But it's all set for that last day in August, that Saturday. But once we get more information on that, I could give
Okay.
you an update.
I have another question. If you could tell the council about what you know about the American Legion. They got $1 million to renovate that
I don't know
building.
much, other than they got it. They went, because they needed some additional funding from their initial grant. I don't keep on top
couple
of their grants. but-
So 3 or 4 years ago, the American Legion Hall got $400,000 from the state of Connecticut to renovate the building. And if you've been in it, they've done some pretty good work, and it's pretty nice in there now. But subsequent to that, they applied for a federal grant of $1 million,
That's
and
right.
they got it.
And they got it.
Yeah, so that's good to know and good for the town, and just good news. It'd be nice to know what their plans are. That's a fair amount of money.
Abby, do you know by any chance, there was a couple of things that they had to go to planning and zoning for?
Yeah, so there's interior building renovations and stuff that they have planned. They also, they're looking at signage, and what they want to do is put an electronic message center, which could be permissible under the zoning regulations, but they're working through the size of that because they're already over their limit on how much signage they're allowed to have on the property. And so now they're trying to figure out how would they they really want to keep what they have and have this new sign, and unfortunately, that's not permissible. And so they're up against the regulations on that, and so we've sort of we've been working through with them, what are different ways you can conceive of your signage to get what you're looking for, but also stay within the rules.
Yeah, so my interest in the building is it's a quasi-public facility. It's not. It's a charity. It's not the town's property, but they do rent it out, and they have historically made it available for a variety of things, and there hasn't been that much use of that facility. But after it's improved in the way it's going to be improved, there might be more demand.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen interior plans, and I would have talked to Richard about whether or not they've taught, exactly what they're, sort of looking at in terms of internal upgrades and finishes and all that kind of stuff. But I know it's on their list for design.
And then the last item on my list is the Economic Development Coordinator hiring process. Now that the budget is passed, could you share with us what you're thinking there?
So the job's posted. We're not getting a tremendous amount of candidates. Dale is going to be assisting me on the interviews and go from there. But right now, we don't have a huge amount, and we've put it out on the Economic Development state websites. We've put it out on CCM. And I've had, like Dale, for example, putting it out to his network of contacts. So we're just reviewing the resumes as they come in.
Okay, great. That wasn't my last item. I got another couple, sorry. Chris Aniskovich, there's the legislation that passed at the state level that might have impact. Abby was talking about the housing, for example. Can you share with the council next meeting or so, whenever you have a chance, anything that you might think that passed at the state level that would matter for us to know about?
Sure.
Thanks. Oh, I asked you about a BRIC grant to ask Dale about, BRIC. There's a grant that Brian came across.
I
that.
apologize. I
Yeah,
apologize.
so I mentioned it to Dale in passing one time, and he
I
said.
have a call with him this afternoon.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable on that topic. So ask him about BRIC.
And just for reference, the BRIC grant I believe the deadline is July 1st for BRIC, and it's shovel-ready infrastructure projects is typically what that one needs to be.
Yeah, and maybe we won't get it this year, but we could know more about it, because I think there are some projects we have in town that fit the criteria. They're potential projects. And then, has the town reached out to the owners of the Beach Donuts or the business that's been impacted by the fire that
I have
occurred?
not, no. I mean, like we have some departments have, but I haven't.
So we've had conversation with the owner. We're trying to help her connect to folks who have space. So I've been in communication with various towns, and what we're looking for right now is temporary place for her to continue operations temporarily while the property is under evaluation and they figure out next steps. So there's a lot of back and forth in connecting them with other people who may have space for temporary operations. So we're trying pretty hard to.
And the people that were displaced are with the Red Cross, and they gave them support.
Was there an apartment that's what was
Yep,
upstairs?
total loss.
Now I'm done. Thanks. Sorry for taking so much.
It's okay.
Council discussion. Anybody got anything they want to get off
Yeah,
their
you know,
chest?
you talk about all these grants. I was just wondering, how come, I wish the library was here. I see that Saybrook got a $2 million grant from Mr. Needleman to upgrade their library.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering,
So there
more or
are,
less, how did they beat us to the punch? Because we've been talking about this upgrade now for probably 13, 14 months. Just sort of caught me by surprise that Saybrook comes out of the woodwork and bang, gets $2 million, and
so
we are proposing to go down to bonding for $700,000 and all this other. I'd like to get a little idea from that library committee. I think they should come in and sort of ask us, did they put in for it? Do you
So
know?
do you- if
Somebody
you-
try for it, or what?
yeah, so if there, I'll go check to see, and we'll ask them what that norm, I don't know that $2 million specifically, but we went and looked when, maybe 2 months ago or 3 months ago, at all the potential grants that are possible at the STEEP grant, state library building grant, and federal grants, and applied for all of them. And Norm Needleman supported us in that request. I think Chris did too. And so the way I understand it, Chris, you can explain it better, is the state has a state bonding package, and it needs to get in there as a priority item listed by the governor, and maybe there's a top 10 items. And we asked, I called him myself, called Norm and asked him to get our library request on that list, and I believe it is, for this next time. So Old Saybrook must have did, I don't know if this is correct, but my understanding is Old Saybrook must have done what I just described we did a year or two ago.
Okay.
It does take a long turnaround, so I'm pretty sure they probably had to apply for it last year, and they're probably just getting awarded. I don't recall the article personally.
Bond commission is an annual.
Yeah.
It's an annual look, so it's not an extended time. You basically can go and you can put in a bond request. So normally would you go to your local representatives to help out to support that. So that's how you do, and then you put a bond request in, and the bond committee has a meeting every week. They have an agenda, the governor's there, and then that's how they proceed with bonding.
So we're asking now. All right, any other council discussion? Council committee liaison reports. Park and Rec, you got anything more? Think we're good?
I'm done.
Anything with Police Commission?
No, not until next Monday.
And nothing from EDC. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained, motion carries. There's a note here from one of the students and thanking us for her award. If you want to read it, pass it around.
We did recognize them at our awards ceremony as well, that they would be receiving it here, our two students. So they got the recognition in front of all their peers and families too last week, yeah.